A newly released batch of Epstein-related court files is once again pulling powerful names into the spotlight. And this time, the focus is on a deeply uncomfortable email involving Sarah Ferguson. On Friday, January 30th, the U.S. Department of Justice unsealed more than 3 million files connected to criminal investigations into Jeffrey Epstein, the late financier and convicted sex offender. Buried inside that massive document dump was a private email exchange from March 2010, one that's now drawing attention for its language, its timing, and who it was sent to. In the email, Epstein reaches out to Sarah Ferguson asking about a possible trip to New York. Her response? She replies with, quote, "Not sure yet, just waiting for Eugenie to come back from a shagging weekend." The wording alone has shocked readers, but the context makes it even more jarring. At the time, Princess Eugenie was 19 years old, just 2 days shy of her 20th birthday. According to reports, Eugenie was spending time with her then-boyfriend, Jack Brooksbank, marking the occasion. But the email exchange didn't happen in a vacuum. It came after Jeffrey Epstein had already been convicted and jailed for a sex crime involving a minor. That fact has made the casual tone of the message and the explicit phrasing especially unsettling to many now reviewing the files. Sarah Ferguson, the former Duchess of York, shares 2 daughters with her ex-husband Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, widely known as Prince Andrew, whose own links to Epstein have been under scrutiny for years. When contacted by People, a spokesperson for Sarah Ferguson declined to comment. Buckingham Palace also did not immediately respond to requests for comment. And as more files from the Epstein investigations continue to surface, scrutiny remains fixed not just on who appears in these records, but on what was said, how casually it was said, and who it was said to. Newly released U.S. Department of Justice documents are sending shockwaves through royal watchers tonight, revealing deeply personal emails exchanged between Sarah Ferguson, the former Duchess of York, and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein months after his release from jail. According to the DOJ file cache made public Friday, Ferguson referred to Epstein as a legend and even wrote the line that is now dominating headlines, "Just marry me." The message, dated January 2010, came roughly 6 months after Epstein completed a jail sentence for soliciting sex from minors, as confirmed in the federal document release. The emails don't stop there. The newly unsealed records show Ferguson repeatedly thanking Epstein for his generosity and emotional support, calling him a spectacular and special friend. In another exchange from 2009, contained within the DOJ archive, she tells him, quote, "I can organize anything," after he inquired about arranging what appears to be a VIP London experience. The documents reference possible access to Buckingham Palace apartments, although the files themselves do not confirm whether any visit actually occurred, according to the material published in the government release. The cache also paints a picture of continued communication, even as Epstein's legal and reputational crisis escalated globally. Emails cited in the DOJ release show Epstein attempting to coordinate a public relations defense, including drafts of statements he hoped Ferguson would issue denying he was a pedophile. In correspondence with publicist Mike Citrick, included in the same document batch, Epstein discusses applying pressure to secure a public retraction. Ferguson's representatives have previously stated, according to archived media responses referenced in the file context, that certain emails were written under legal threat. Another layer of controversy involves references to Ferguson's daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. A July 2010 message included in the DOJ materials shows Epstein asking if the young royals could greet an unnamed visitor while in London. Ferguson responds with travel details about both daughters. Royal analysts say the inclusion of family logistics in the exchange is likely to intensify scrutiny over boundaries maintained after Epstein's conviction, as highlighted by commentary surrounding the document release. The documents also reopen discussion about Epstein's broader ties to Andrew, Ferguson's former husband. Separate records within the same DOJ release reference continued social contact between Epstein and Andrew after the financier's release from custody. Former Prince Andrew has repeatedly denied wrongdoing and previously settled a civil sexual assault lawsuit without admitting liability. The renewed focus arrives as public debate over royal accountability resurfaces, driven by the scale and detail of the government's newly published archive. For Ferguson, the revelations risk reviving a chapter she publicly tried to close more than a decade ago. In interviews from 2011 referenced in the contextual reporting attached to the file release, she expressed regret over accepting money from Epstein and pledged to sever ties. Yet the email timeline now entering the public domain suggests a more complex and prolonged relationship than previously understood. As analysts continue combing through millions of pages in the Federal Archive, this story is far from over, and the royal fallout may only be beginning. What stands out in the newly released documents is how casual and ongoing the tone of communication appears. Emails contained in the DOJ archive show Ferguson thanking Epstein for emotional and professional support, crediting him for boosting momentum around her business ventures. According to the government files, she describes a surge of opportunity following meetings connected to him, suggesting his influence extended into her media and retail ambitions. Reviewers analyzing the timeline stress that all of these exchanges took place after Epstein's conviction was already public knowledge. The DOJ documents underline that the relationship continued during a period when global scrutiny around Epstein was intensifying. Commentators say that contrast between public distancing and private communication is likely to shape public reaction as the document release continues to be dissected. As investigators and journalists work through millions of pages in the Federal Archive, the Ferguson emails are emerging as one of the most talked about sections of the release. While the documents raise ethical and reputational questions, they also highlight how Epstein maintained contact with high-profile figures long after his criminal case. Analysts say the unfolding review of these files means this chapter of the scandal is still developing, and further revelations could follow.